In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the mediums that we're going to be using in painting. And these are things that you're going to be using every time we paint. So how do you set it up? What are they? Uh, and what do they do? Well, the first thing I want to talk about is Turpenoid. Turpenoid is an odorless paint thinner. We use Turpenoid to thin our paint and to clean our brushes. What you want to do though is you want to take that Turpenoid out of the original container and you want to put it into a container that can work for both storage possibly or a combination of storage and use. This container that I purchased at the art supply store is one of those where it does double duty. It stores the Turpenoid that I'm going to work with, and I don't have to pour it out into a container while I paint. So I can leave it in here and let it go. What makes this container unique is that it comes with a ring inside, and that ring allows me to put my paintbrush in, dip it into the Turpenoid, swirl it around. It helps to clean my brush a little bit, but it also separates the brush from the sediment that will collect. Now over time, as you clean your brush, the sediment from that will fall to the bottom of the jar and it will sit there. Every time you go in and you swirl your brush around, normally that sediment starts to move up into here. And that's okay while you're working, but generally not ideal. So you want to keep your brush out of the sludge that creates. So that little ring does that for you. So you can clean your brush off, dip it in, get some Turpenoid, and not accidentally get it into the sludge. Otherwise, what you would do is you would have two containers. One container would hold the Turpenoid while you work, and then when you're finished, you would pour it off into a separate container with a lid. You never want to put it back in the original container because that will muss up what's in there. You want to keep that clean. So you put the Turpenoid in a container with a lid and you store it, and then what happens over time is that sediment settles to the bottom of the container, and then when you're ready to paint again, you take this and you very carefully, you don't shake it, you pour off the clean Turpenoid into your working container. So you can do it that way, but what's nice about that is this is one and done. You don't have to pour it off. The sediment will settle, the coil keeps it from combining with your paintbrush, and you're good to go, and you've got a lid for it. So that's the Turpenoid. Again, we use that to clean our brushes and to thin our paint in the early stages. That early stage we call the lean stage. The second thing that you need is medium. Now the medium is an oil base that helps extend the drying time of our paint. It also makes it more fluid, more easy to move around. And the one that I recommend is by Grumbacher, and it's Oil Painting Medium 2. There's 3 or 4 of these. This one stays wet longer. What that means is that it doesn't start to dry and get tacky while you're still working. But it also is going to take your paint longer to dry. Another one that I like is Gambleen's Galkyd Light. And what Galkyd Light does is it actually speeds up the drying time. But unlike some other, like Galkyd and some other drying agents, this one takes a little bit longer to do that. So while you're painting, you're not fighting that sticky drying paint. You've got a little bit longer to work. But then within 24 hours, your paint is pretty much dry and ready to go. So that's Galkyd Light. When you use a medium, you need a small container, and usually you'll see these at the art supply store. You put just a little bit in the container because you never use a lot of this stuff. You put a little bit in and you keep it on your palette or near your palette to dip into as you are mixing your paints. One of the things you never do is you never take that dirty medium and pour it back into the clean medium. So at the end of the session, you wipe out this container and get ready for the next time. It will dry within 48 hours or so, so it's going to get hard and sticky in there if you don't wipe it out. The container like this you can buy at the art supply store. You can use a tuna fish can. That will work as well. So those are the two mediums, or the two materials, Turpenoid and medium. Make sure you get the odorless. There's another product on the market that also is called Turpenoid. It's in a green container. That's not something you use to thin your paint. That's more for cleaning brushes. Has a very strong citrus smell. We don't want to use that. So make sure it looks like this when you go out to purchase it. And that kind of gets you set. That's what you